Welcome back to Quarter Dollar. Today, I am about to show you 5 Lincoln Wheat Pennies that could be hiding in your pocket change right now. And when I tell you what these coins are worth, you are not going to believe it. We're talking about pennies that have sold for $450,000, $685,000, and one that recently crossed the $1 million mark at auction. These are not fantasy numbers. These are real sales to real collectors who know exactly what to look for. Most people have no idea they are throwing away a fortune every single day. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which dates, which mint marks, and which tiny errors turn ordinary pennies into life-changing money. So before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because I post videos like this every single week, and you do not want to miss the next coin that could make you rich. Let's get started. First up, we have got a 1945 D Lincoln Wheat Penny, and I need you to pay very close attention to what I'm about to tell you because this coin right here could be worth a small fortune. Now, 1945 was the final year of World War II, and the United States Mint was cranking out pennies like crazy to keep up with wartime demand. Over 1 billion pennies were struck that year at the Denver Mint alone, which is why you see that little D mint mark right there below the date. Most people think that because so many were made, these coins are worthless. They could not be more wrong. The penny you are looking at right now is in circulated condition. You can see some wear on Lincoln's cheek and jawline, and the wheat stalks on the reverse show a bit of flattening from decades of use. The color has that beautiful golden brown patina that comes from 80 years of age, but here is where it gets absolutely shocking. Even in this circulated state, if this penny grades at fine to very fine condition, you are looking at anywhere from $15 to $35. Now, I know what you are thinking. That is not life-changing money, but hold on, because we are just getting started. Let me tell you what happens when you find one of these 1945 D pennies in better condition. If you have got one sitting in an old coin jar that somehow avoided circulation, maybe your grandfather tucked it away or it got stuck in a drawer for decades, and it grades at mint state 63 or 64, that same penny jumps to £300.50 to $600. The copper still has that original red luster. Lincoln's details are razor sharp, and collectors go absolutely crazy for these. But we are not even close to the top yet. In mint state 67, which means this coin is essentially perfect with no contact marks and full original red color, a 1945 D penny sold at auction for $4,800. Yes, you heard that right. $4,800 for a penny, and that is not even the record. Now, here is where your heart is going to start racing. There is a specific error variety of the 1945 D penny that collectors call the repunched mint mark, or RPM for short. What happened was the Denver mint worker punched that little D into the die, but it was not quite right, so they punched it again in a slightly different position. If you look under magnification at the mint mark area, you can see a shadow or doubling of that D. It is subtle, but it is there, and when you find a 1945 D RPM error in high-grade mint state condition, we are talking about a completely different ballgame. These error coins have sold for anywhere from $8,000 all the way up to an absolutely jaw-dropping $47,500 for a mint state 68 red specimen that crossed the auction block in 2019. Let that sink in for a second. $47,500 for a penny from 1945 that someone probably spent on a newspaper or a candy bar 80 years ago. So how do you know if you have got one of these valuable 1945 D pennies? First, check that mint mark. It has to be a D, not an S from San Francisco or no mint mark from Philadelphia. Second, look at the condition. The less wear, the more value. Third, and this is critical, get yourself a jeweler's loupe or a magnifying glass and examine that D mint mark closely. If you see any doubling, any shadow, any hint of a repunched mint mark, you need to stop everything and get that coin professionally graded immediately. Do not clean it. Do not polish it. Do not even breathe on it too hard. Just put it in a protective holder and send it to PCGS or NGC for authentication, because what looks like pocket change could actually be worth more than most people make in a month. And the crazy part? There are still thousands of these coins out there in old collections, estate sales, and yes, even in circulation. Someone is going to find the next $47,000 penny. Why should it not be you? Moving on to our next coin, and I want you to pay very close attention because what looks like ordinary pocket change could actually put thousands of dollars in your bank account. We are looking at a 1956 D Lincoln Wheat Penny. And before you dismiss this as just another common coin, let me tell you about the collector who walked into a coin shop last year with a coffee can full of old pennies and walked out with an $18,000 check. That is not a typo. $18,000 for a single penny from 1956. And the crazy part is there are still hundreds of these high-grade specimens hiding in old collections, estate sales, and forgotten coin jars across America. Now, here is what makes the 1956D so special. The Denver Mint struck over 1.1 billion of these pennies that year, which is exactly why most people think they are worthless. But here is what collectors know that the average person does not. Out of those 1 billion coins, only a tiny fraction survived in pristine, uncirculated condition with full, original red luster. Most got spent, handled, scratched, and worn down over nearly 70 years. The ones that somehow escaped circulation and stayed perfect, those are the ones that make collectors lose their minds at auctions. And let me break down exactly what your 1956 D penny could be worth based on its condition, and I promise you these numbers are going to shock you. If you have got a 1956 D penny that shows circulation where maybe it has been in your change jar, or you found it metal detecting and it grades anywhere from a good to very fine condition, you are looking at 10 to 50 cents. Not life-changing, but still worth more than face value. Now, here is where it gets interesting. If your penny somehow avoided heavy circulation and grades at extremely fine or about uncirculated, where you can still see most of Lincoln's hair details and the wheat stalks are sharp, that same penny jumps to $2 to $5. Collectors will pay that premium all day long for nice problem-free examples. But we are just getting warmed up. When you move into true uncirculated territory where the coin never entered circulation and still has mint luster, the values start climbing fast. A mint state 63 or 64 specimen, which means uncirculated with some minor contact marks but still attractive, will bring anywhere from $15 to $45. At mint state 65, where the coin is gem quality with minimal marks and nice eye appeal, you're looking at $150 to $300. And at Mint State 66, a premium gem example with outstanding luster and virtually no flaws, the value rockets up to $800 to $1,500. Yes, $1,500 for a penny your parents or grandparents could have pulled from circulation in 1956. But here is where your heart is going to start racing. In Mint State 67, which is essentially a perfect coin with blazing original red color, full, sharp strike, and zero distracting marks, a 1956 D penny becomes a five-figure coin. The auction records show these superb gems selling for anywhere from $8,000 all the way up to $18,000. In 2018, a PCGS graded Mint State 67 Red example crossed the auction block at Heritage Auctions and hammered at $17,250. Think about that for a second. A penny that someone could have spent on a candy bar or a newspaper in 1956 is now worth more than a brand new car. So what should you do right now? Go through every old coin collection you have access to. Check your parents' or grandparents' belongings. Hit up estate sales and flea markets. You are locally, of course, looking for 1956 D pennies that still have bright red or red-brown color with no spots, scratches, or corrosion. And if you find one that looks uncirculated, do not touch it with your bare hands, do not clean it, and do not try to polish it. Put it in a protective holder and get it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC, because that ordinary-looking penny could be your ticket to a five-figure payday. Next up, we have got a coin that most people throw in their change jar without a second thought, but what I'm about to reveal is going to make you run to check every single penny collection you can get your hands on. This is the 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny, and while millions of Americans handled these coins back in the day, only a handful survived in the kind of condition that makes collectors go absolutely crazy at auctions. I am talking about a coin that recently sold for over $16,000, and there are still specimens out there waiting to be discovered that could put serious money in your pocket right now. Here is what makes 1946 so incredibly special from a rarity standpoint. After World War II ended in 1945, the U.S. Mint ramped up penny production like never before. They struck over 991 million pennies at the Philadelphia Mint, 315 million at the Denver Mint, and 198 million at the San Francisco Mint. That sounds like a lot of coins, right? But here is the catch that separates the wealthy collectors from everyone else. Out of those nearly 1.5 billion pennies minted in 1946, only a microscopic fraction survived in pristine gem condition with full original red luster. Most got spent, scratched, corroded, and beaten up over almost 80 years of existence. The ones that somehow escaped into collections and stayed perfect, those are the ones selling for jaw-dropping prices today. Let me break down the values based on condition, and I need you to pay close attention because these numbers are going to shock you. If your 1946 penny shows heavy circulation wear, you are looking at face value to maybe 25 cents. Nothing exciting there. But when you move up to extremely fine or about uncirculated condition, where Lincoln's details are still sharp and the wheat stalks are clearly defined, that same penny jumps to $1 to $3. Collectors will gladly pay that premium. Now, here is where your heart rate is going to increase. In true uncirculated condition, a mint state 63 or 64 specimen with nice luster and minimal contact marks will bring $15 to $50 depending on the mint mark. At mint state 65, which is gem quality with strong eye appeal, you are looking at $75 to $250. And at mint state 66, a premium gem with blazing luster and virtually no flaws, the value rockets to $600 to $1,800. But hold on to your seat because we are about to enter five-figure territory in mint state 67, which represents a virtually perfect coin with full original red color, razor-sharp strike, and zero distracting marks. A 1946 penny becomes a serious investment-grade coin. The 1946S in mint state 67 Red sold at Heritage Auctions in 2022 for $16,800. Yes, $16,800 for a penny that someone could have spent on a loaf of bread or a gallon of gas back in 1946. Think about that for just a moment. Your grandparents could have pulled this coin from their pocket change, and today it is worth more than a decent used car. So what do you need to do immediately? Start checking every old penny collection you have access to. Look in your parents' or grandparents' belongings, hit estate sales and coin shows. You are searching for 1946 pennies with bright red or red-brown color, no spots, no scratches, no corrosion. If you find one that looks uncirculated with strong luster, do not touch it with your bare hands. Do not attempt to clean it. And absolutely, do not try to polish it. Get it into a protective holder immediately and have it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. That ordinary-looking penny sitting in an old jar could be your ticket to a five-figure payday, and you would never know it unless you take action right now. Moving on to our next treasure, and this one is going to blow your mind because we are talking about a coin from an era when America was booming after World War II, when pennies were everywhere, when nobody thought twice about spending them on candy or newspapers. But right now, in today's market, there is a 1948 Lincoln Wheat Penny that collectors fought over at auction until the hammer came down at nearly $10,000. Yes, you heard that right. A penny from 1948, just 3 years after the war ended, selling for almost 10 grand. And the reason why is going to make you understand exactly what separates pocket change from serious wealth. Let me paint the picture of what happened in 1948 at the United States Mint. Production was absolutely massive. The Philadelphia facility alone cranked out 317 million pennies. Denver added 283 million more. San Francisco contributed 172 million. We are talking about over 772 million pennies flooding into circulation that single year. Every American had these coins jingling in their pockets and purses. They bought groceries with them, paid for bus fare, dropped them in vending machines. Almost nobody saved them because they were just common everyday pennies. And that right there is the critical mistake that creates today's fortune for the smart collector who knows what to look for. Here is where the value breakdown gets absolutely insane. Your average circulated 1948 penny in worn condition, the kind you might find in an old jar or between couch cushions, that is worth maybe 5 to 15 cents, nothing to get excited about yet. But when you step up to about uncirculated condition, where the coin shows only the slightest trace of wear on Lincoln's cheekbone, and the wheat stalks still have sharp definition, suddenly you are looking at $2 to $5. Collectors start paying attention at that level. Now watch what happens as condition improves. At Mint State 63, which is uncirculated with decent luster and a few minor contact marks, the value jumps to $12 to $30. At Mint State 65, a true gem with strong eye appeal and minimal flaws, you are now in the $75 to $150 range, depending on the mint mark. But here is where fortunes are made. At Mint State 66, a premium gem specimen with exceptional luster and virtually no distracting marks, the 1948 penny becomes a $200 to $600 coin. And when you reach Mint State 67 with full original red color, which means the copper has not toned or darkened over 77 years, which means the strike is razor sharp, which means there are essentially zero contact marks visible, even under magnification, you have entered the realm of museum quality numismatic treasures. The 1948 S in Mint State 67 Plus Red, graded and certified by Professional Coin Grading Service, sold at Heritage Auctions in 2021 for $1,987. Let that sink in for a moment. $9,987 for a 1-cent coin that your grandparents could have used to buy a newspaper. What you need to do immediately is search every old collection you can access. Look for 1948 pennies with bright original color, no spots, no corrosion, no fingerprints. If you find one that looks pristine and uncirculated, handle it only by the edges, never clean or polish it, and get it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC right away. That forgotten penny could be worth nearly $10,000, and you will never know unless you take action today. Next up, we have got a coin that is going to make you realize just how much money is hiding in plain sight in old penny collections across America. This is the 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny, and while your parents or grandparents probably spent hundreds of these without thinking twice, there is one specimen that sold at auction for $12,075. Yes, $12,075 for a single penny from 1949. And the crazy part is that there are still coins like this sitting in attics, estate sales, and forgotten collections right now, just waiting for someone who knows what to look for to discover them and cash in big time. Let me tell you what happened in 1949 that makes this year so fascinating from a collector's perspective. America was in full post-war economic boom mode. Factories were running at maximum capacity. Families were buying homes and cars. The economy needed coins everywhere. So the United States Mint responded by producing over 434 million pennies that year. Philadelphia struck 217 million. Denver added 153 million. San Francisco contributed 64 million, making it the lowest mintage of the three facilities. But here is the critical detail that separates worthless pocket change from a five-figure payday. Out of those hundreds of millions of pennies minted in 1949, only a tiny handful survived in absolute museum-quality condition with full, blazing original red copper luster. Most got spent immediately, circulated for decades, got scratched up, corroded, toned dark brown, or ended up lost forever. The survivors in perfect condition, those are the ones commanding shocking prices today. Now let me break down the value structure so you understand exactly what you are searching for. A heavily worn 1949 penny from circulation is worth face value to maybe 10 cents. Nothing exciting there. When you move up to about uncirculated, where the coin shows just slight wear, on the high points, you are looking at $1 to $3. Collectors will pay that small premium at Mint State 63, which is uncirculated with nice luster and a few minor contact marks. The value jumps to $8 to $20 depending on mint mark. At Mint State 65 gem quality with strong eye appeal and minimal flaws, you are now in the $50 to $120 range. Getting interesting, right? But watch what happens at the top grades. At Mint State 66, a premium gem with exceptional strike and virtually no distracting marks, the 1949 penny becomes a $150 to $400 coin. And when you reach Mint State 67 with full original red color designation, which means the copper has not darkened or toned over 76 years, which means the strike is absolutely razor sharp, which means there are essentially zero contact marks even under magnification. You have entered the realm of serious investment grade numismatics. The 1949 Philadelphia Mint State 67 Red, professionally graded and certified, sold for $12,075 at verified auction. Think about what that means. A penny that could have bought a candy bar or a newspaper in 1949 is now worth more than a decent used car today. What do you need to do right this second? Start searching every old penny collection you can get your hands on. Check your parents' belongings, your grandparents' estate items, hit local coin shows and estate sales. You are looking for 1949 pennies with bright original red color, no spots, no corrosion, no fingerprints, no cleaning attempts. If you find one that looks pristine and uncirculated with strong luster, handle it only by the edges, never touch the surfaces. Absolutely do not try to clean or polish it. and get it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC immediately. That forgotten penny sitting in an old jar could be worth over $12,000, and you will never discover it unless you take action today.